My parents left me $2 million, but my greedy sister wants it all. My sister looked me dead in the eyes at our father's funeral and said the words I'll never forget. "You stole my inheritance, and I'm going to destroy you for it." 200 guests went silent. My husband grabbed my arm. The pastor still had his Bible open. And I knew right then that the sister I once loved was about to become my worst enemy. My name is Margaret. Most people call me Maggie. And 11 months ago, my own sister tried to take everything from me, including my reputation. I'm 58 years old. I've lived in the same small town in Ohio my entire life. My parents weren't rich. My father worked the steel mill for 32 years. My mother taught 4th grade. The money came later. Inherited farmland sold to a developer. $2 million. Not luck. A lifetime of sacrifice. My younger sister Karen moved to California at 22. She married Greg, a real estate agent. Big house in San Diego, nice cars, vacations in Hawaii. But here's what people don't know about Karen. She barely called our parents, maybe Christmas, sometimes a birthday. When Mom got diagnosed with dementia 5 years ago, Karen didn't come home. Not once. I was the one who moved Mom and Dad into my spare rooms. I was the one who bathed my mother when she forgot how to bathe. I was the one who held my father's hand when he cried every single night. And Karen? She was too busy living her life. But Karen had a secret, one that would eventually destroy her. So when our father passed away last March, just 8 months after Mom, I thought the hard part was over. I was wrong. Karen flew in 2 days before the funeral. She didn't come to help plan it. She didn't ask how I was doing. She walked into my house like she owned it and immediately started looking through Dad's things. "Where are the financial documents?" she asked. Not, "How are you holding up, Maggie?" Not, "I'm sorry I wasn't here." Just money. I told her everything was with Dad's lawyer, David Chen. The will reading was scheduled for the day after the funeral. She barely spoke to me after that. The funeral was beautiful. Over 200 people came. Dad was loved in this town. But Karen stood in the corner, checking her phone, waiting for it to be over. Then she said those words to me, in front of everyone. "You stole my inheritance." My husband, Tom, stepped between us. "This isn't the place, Karen." She laughed. "Oh, I'm sure you're in on it too, Tom. The two of you probably planned this for years." People were staring. I felt my face burn with shame. This was supposed to be about honoring our father. The next day, we sat in David Chen's office. Karen Patterson, she kept Greg's last name through everything, was already there when Tom and I arrived. David read the will. My parents left $2 million total. They split it 70% to me and 30% to Karen. That meant I received $1,400,000. Karen received $600,000. $600,000! And she acted like she'd been robbed. "This is unacceptable," Karen snapped. "My parents would never do this voluntarily." David stayed calm. "Mrs. Patterson, your parents updated this will 3 years ago. They were both of sound mind. I have the documentation." For just a second, I saw something flicker across Karen's face, like a little girl who didn't understand why she wasn't the favorite. Then it vanished. "She manipulated them," Karen said, pointing at me. She isolated them. She turned them against me. I couldn't stay quiet anymore. I took care of them, Karen. Where were you when Mom didn't recognize her own face in the mirror? Where were you when Dad had his heart attack? I had my own life to live. And they had theirs, and they chose to thank me for being there. Karen grabbed her purse and stood up. This isn't over. I'll get a lawyer. I'll contest this whole thing. She stormed out, and I knew every word. 3 weeks later, I received legal papers. Karen was suing me for the full inheritance. She claimed I had committed elder abuse. She claimed I had used undue influence over our parents. She claimed our father was mentally incompetent when he signed the will. I couldn't believe what I was reading. My own sister was accusing me of hurting our parents, the parents I had devoted 5 years to caring for. The lawsuit demanded the entire $2 million be given to Karen. She also wanted me to pay her legal fees, and she wanted our family home, the house I grew up in, which our parents had left to me. Greg called me once during this time. He sounded uncomfortable. Maggie, Karen told me she'd handle her family situation. I don't really know what's going on, but... He paused. I'm sorry about your father. I didn't know what he knew, but I thanked him and hung up. It got worse. Someone in town saw the legal papers. Rumors started spreading. People whispered at the grocery store. Some of my neighbors stopped waving to me. Karen had hired a lawyer from Cleveland, a real shark. He filed motion after motion. The case was dragging on. The worst part? She went on social media and told everyone her version of the story. My sister abused my parents and stole my inheritance. I saw people I'd known for 30 years share her post. They didn't ask me what really happened. They just believed her. My doctor put me on medication for anxiety. I couldn't sleep. I lost 15 pounds. Tom was worried I was going to have a breakdown. I didn't know it yet, but Dad had already given me the weapon I needed. One night, I sat in Dad's old chair and just sobbed. Why is this happening, Dad? I did everything you asked me to do. That's when I looked at his bookshelf, his old books, his journals, and that's when I found it. I almost missed it. Dad's old Bible had a bookmark I'd never noticed, a faded funeral card from his brother's service. The brother's farmland had become our inheritance. Inside was a manila envelope with my name on it in his handwriting. He'd been waiting years to tell me the truth. My dear Maggie, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and I'm guessing your sister is causing trouble. I almost dropped the paper. I knew this would happen. That's why I prepared. Karen borrowed $200,000 from your mother and me over the years. She never paid back a single dime. She told us not to tell you. I'm telling you now. The letter continued. I also made a video with David Chen as a witness. In that video, I explain exactly why we made our decision. I was of sound mind. My mother, before her mind left her, agreed completely. David has a copy, but I gave him strict instructions. There was more. He had kept every record, every check, every bank transfer, every excuse Karen had given for needing money. $200,000. She had already taken $200,000 from our parents, and now she wanted everything else too. I called David Chen first thing the next morning. David, my father mentioned a video. Your father gave me strict instructions, Maggie. I could only reveal it if you specifically asked. He wanted to see if Karen would come to her senses first. David paused. She didn't. The court date arrived 4 months after Karen first filed her lawsuit. She sat across from me with her expensive lawyer and her perfect hair. She looked confident. I felt nervous, but ready. Her lawyer presented his case first. He painted me as a manipulative daughter who isolated my parents. He showed texts where I declined to let Karen visit. What he didn't mention was that Karen had never actually tried to visit. Then it was our turn. David Chen stood up. Your Honor, I have evidence that directly refutes. He played the video. There was my father, sitting in David's office, looking directly at the camera. He looked tired, but clear-eyed, completely himself. My name is Harold Myers. I am making this video of my own free will. My wife Dorothy and I have decided to leave 70% of our estate to our daughter Margaret and 30% to our daughter Karen. He paused in the video. Karen has borrowed over $200,000 from us over the past 15 years. She has never repaid any of it. More importantly, she has never been present when we needed her. Karen shifted in her seat. Margaret gave up her career to care for us. She bathed her mother. She held our hands when we were afraid. She is the daughter who showed up. My father's voice cracked on the video. I am of sound mind. This is our decision, and I pray that Karen will accept it with grace. She didn't, but it didn't matter. David also submitted the bank records, every check Karen had cashed, every transfer, $200,000, documented and undeniable. The judge reviewed everything. She ruled in my favor completely. The evidence is clear, she said. There was no undue influence. The deceased was mentally competent. This lawsuit is without merit. Then she added something I'll never forget. The evidence also shows Mrs. Patterson received significant advances against her inheritance during the deceased's lifetime. The court notes this for the record and finds the current distribution reflects the deceased's clear intent. After the hearing, David explained what it meant. The bank records were now public. Karen couldn't hide the $200,000 anymore, and any future claims she made would be laughed out of court. Her fancy Cleveland lawyer had charged her over $75,000. Karen had walked into that courtroom expecting to take everything from me. She walked out with less than she started with. Justice was served. That was 11 months ago. Karen didn't speak to me at the courthouse. She flew back to California that same night. I heard through a cousin that Karen and Greg are getting divorced now. Turns out he didn't know about all the money she had borrowed from our parents either. I think about that phone call he made during the lawsuit. He really didn't know what Karen was doing. I don't feel happy about her pain, but I don't feel guilty either. I used part of my inheritance to set up college funds for my grandchildren. I donated $50,000 to the local hospital where my mother spent her final days, and I kept my parents' house exactly the way they left it. Sometimes I sit in Dad's old chair and read his letter again. He knew Karen better than I wanted to admit. He planned for this. He protected me even after he was gone. The lesson I learned is simple. Love isn't about what people promise, it's about what they do when things get hard. I was there for my parents, and even in death, they were there for me. That's worth more than $2 million could ever be.